Hello and welcome to Ready Set Demo from Elizabeth's Craft Room. Today I am dropping in to speak mostly to my lovely demo friends to talk about different ways to colour scenic wonders. Now this stamp set is on page 100 of the new catalogue, and it's a distINKtive set, which means that we get different ranges of tone when we stamp with one stamp. But we want to be able to add colour to this. So I'm going to demonstrate two ways of adding colour and talk you through a few more kind of upgrades of how you can do that. So let's start with this version. So we're going to use the stamp down at the bottom, which is the one I used in class. So here's our stamp. And what we're going to do, I'm going to turn it upside down first of all, and I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to colour it with the marker to stamp technique using, this one is one of our new in colours, Wild Wheat. I'm going to colour the mountains with this, and you're using the side of the stamp, not the pointy end, or you will squish your stamps, squish your markers. Did I say stamp? I meant markers. And then we're going to use the old olive. Same thing, just colouring those in with the side. Flip it round. Now I want to create a lake, and I'm using the lovely returning Lost Lagoon here. Just colouring those areas in. Now down at the bottom, I've got a bit of a mixture of colours that I want to use. So I'm going to start with some grey. This is the Pebbled Path, and there's a rock here. And this is kind of a bit of a rock going on with some moss and grass and things in front of it. So I'm putting a bit of grey here, but not completely grey. And now I'm going to mix in some other colours. So I'll start with the lightest one that I'm going to use here. And this is Lemon Lime Twist. Glad to have that back. And I'm colouring in my kind of leaves and flowers. You could go with kind of some brighter colours on the ends of those flowers, but I'm just keeping this a little bit muted. Now, obviously, I will have picked up some grey on here. So I'm just going to squiggle off to make sure my blend is clean, and that will work just fine. Not my blend, my marker. You cannot do this with blends, ladies and gents. You cannot do it with blends, because if you use blends, they will just colour in your stamp and they won't transfer onto the paper because they are alcohol based. You need water based for these. So I'm just dabbing in now with my old olive. Again, let's have a little scribble to get any excess off there. Now I've been colouring and chattering for a while, so some of this ink might have dried a little. So I'm just going to breathe on it to reactivate that. And then stamp. And I'm trying to get the horizon line level. This has got water in it. We're not going to have uphill going water. We're going to have nice level water. So I'm looking at the horizon line. Give it a good press down. Let that ink transfer. And there you go. Now with distINKtive, you do get texture into the stamp, as well as light and dark in terms of where we are adding our ink. Now if you have a look at to give you the example of this, if you're not very familiar with distINKtive, can you see here it's lighter, here it's darker on that mountain. I use the same colour all the way across, but we've got the lighter and the darker patches showing, and I think it's a really good demonstration of how the distINKtive stamps work for you. And you can see where I've mixed in that grey and the green, and that's all worked really nicely. So that's the first way that you can colour with these. Now in class, If you've got a small class, you can absolutely do that. If you are teaching a larger number of customers, then sometimes marker to stamp is a tricky one to do with a big image like this. Great to teach them on, you know, doing a happy in one colour and a birthday in the other. Fab, because it's quite quick. But something like this, it'll take a long time for those markers to pass around and the stamp to pass around. So unless you've got duplicates, and I don't, of my stamps, what I would suggest is a different way of colouring, and that's what we are going to look at now. So let's bring in the one that we did in class, and then I'll show you a close-up look at the two so you can see the difference. So let's give my stamp a clean off on the scrub. And then I'm going to ink this up with grey granite. So we get quite a neutral look on there. And again, let's have some nice level, a nice level lake. That's all over. And so then we've got that image there. Now you absolutely can just use that image, or if you did it with a green or a bluey colour, they look lovely as they are. But as I say, we're going to add in some colour. Now this time I'm going to use a blending pen, a blender pen. These are on page 137 of the catalogue. They're right in the middle. Blender pens come in a pack of 3. In the UK, they're £13. So, and can be split between friends. I do say that sometimes because sometimes people will, when they first use them, they will think, yep, I think I'll just have one. And that's fine, because they're also going to need some watercolour pencils to go with these. Now, the colours I've chosen here, I am waiting as we speak for my new colour watercolour pencils to come. So apologies for using one retired, but I'm going to start off and I'm going to use the same sort of colours. So here I'm going for crushed curry up at the top. And colouring that all in. And don't worry about any pencil scratchy lines, because those are all going to be covered over with the use of our blender pen there. I'm going to colour in my trees. That's with the old olive. Then we'll flip it round and do our lake. Now the nice thing with the pencils, unlike doing marker to stamp, is we can kind of extend a bit if we want to. We can go up to the lines, and I quite liked it going underneath the mountain all the way across there and then just fading it out. I mean, you could come all the way round, but that's how we did it in class, so just fading that out. I'm using a basic grey and I'm just adding a very little bit of colour to those rocks, not too much, just a little. I'm mostly going to use the ink colour that's already there with the granite, because I don't want that too dark. And then we're going to use Granny Apple Green for those detailed grasses, and again a little bit maybe underneath, more Granny Apple over here. And then colouring in this area with the old olive again, and again another bit of old olive just around in between the leaves and coming out there. Right, now for the blender pen. So I'll start out here just with the trees, and you just scribble it on the paper on some scrap to just take any ink off. And what it does, if you look at where I've actually coloured there, it's quite sort of, you can see the lines in, but as you go over with the blender pen, it takes all of that scribbled line out and gives you a lovely smooth finish there. Just spreads the colour gently around. And there you go. So that's how you would colour there with using the watercolour pencils and a blender pen. So let's have a look at some, let's just do a comparison there up close and personal. See which one you prefer. Do you like to see a more textured image? Maybe this looks a little bit more natural. Or do you prefer the smooth, more sort of evenly coloured look? What do you think? Which one of those? Right, let's have a little look at my other samples. So this one I did, and I always say show some samples in class. This is one of those that I did. Now, I started off the same way with the marker to stamp. So started with those and did this image. But then I took, and I put notes on the back so I remember in each case what it was I did. I then did some watercolour pencil painting. So I added a little bit more ink, and then I took my water painter, and those are on the same page there. They're page 137 of the catalogue. So I took my watercolour painter and I just went over and spread that ink a little bit. Now on thick, on basic white, I was going to say thick basic white, on basic white, you need to go gently with it. If you put a lot of water on, the paper will start to pill. So go gently with it. It's a fairly quick process. But you can see there you get a kind of a mixture between the texture and a little bit of a smoother look on there. This one here is we've done this one watercolored. So I have stamped this with the basic, I've stamped this with the grey granite, and then I have gone over and watercolored the whole thing. So again, no ink, no marker to stamp here, so no texture on there, and I've just gone over and watercolored this using the watercolor pencils and my brush. If I was going to do this with wanting to add a lot more water, I would stamp it with StazOn ink. You would have to have more texture on there, and then you would do it, and you could add more water without it bleeding. The other thing you'll notice, I used my blending brushes and went around the edge to add some colour around the edge of the image for that one. This one is just a marker to stamp. I thought I would show you that that image at the top there, so you're seeing all three. And for this one here, I've stamped it, and then I have watercolored over the top. So I have done marker to stamp first, and then I've watercolored there over the top again with my water painter. And in case you're wondering where all these other elements have come from that work so well with these stamps, I have them on my list. This is something I always take a Lister class with all of my details on, and the samples, it says page 82 for the samples that I've made, and that is actually, I think I've got the stamp set here, is Next Destination, which is fabulous and really goes well, I think, with those. Incidentally, if you are a Stampin' Up demonstrator and you're not already signed up to my Ready Set Demo newsletter, why not? Please come and join me. You will find a link in the description below. Just click more if you don't see it straight away, and you'll find a link there where you can come and look at Ready Set Demo, or you can email me at liz.shannon@icloud.com. Now, if you email me, I will also send you a link to the blank printables, so you can print these out for yourself and use them in classes if you would like. So I do all sorts of extra exclusive things for my newsletter. Demo friends, so do come and join us over there if you would care to. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you for visiting Ready Set Demo from Elizabeth's Craft Room today.